Hello, welcome back to another Godzilla Battle Line video. Today I'm going to be giving my Season 26 tier list. Finally, I'm doing a tier list. It has been on hiatus for, I think, 3 seasons now. Sorry about that. Life's been busy, but hoping to get back on track, starting with this one. And we do have everything in order, and I plan on going through kind of quickly, but I'm going to try to give my 2 cents on some of the newer characters. Like Kumo Augment, who is top of the meta. Kumo Augment at 3 cost is absolutely broken. The nerfs they did were necessary, but just not enough. The spread and the stuns he can do are insane for the 3 cost. How slow of a walker he is. It is essentially a free deploy. He is just super good. He counters pretty much everything. There's nothing that directly counters him. He is the definition of an S tier unit. If anything, he could be S+, that's how good he is. Absolutely broken. He's usable at level 15 and the highest levels of play. That's how broken this unit is. And if you have it in 25 to 30 range, it's absolutely carrying your teams, and it's crazy. This guy's broken. Please nerf Kumo Augment. He is evil. Next is Mothra 19, another new addition that I have not talked about yet, who is very, very strong. Mothra 19's ability to die and give you 2 energy is insanely strong. It is just an uptick in energy, and you know me, I'm obsessed with energy. I was the energy-based guy before, train bombs became super prevalent because energy-based was so good. Mothra 19 is pretty much going to be replacing that uptick in energy. The reason she's so broken is the range she has and the slow are really good, but the health she has for being a support backline slowing sniper is insane. She's like 2,840 health, I think, at level 12, which is gnarly. She should not have that much health. Mothra in the movie is not tanky. Most Mothras are not tanky. And Mothra 19 should not have anywhere near that health. She should have like 600 less, if anything. So if she's going to have the stats she has, she's going to be top of S tier. And I know she's a newer unit, but with how GMATs work now, you can just save up a bunch of GMATs and essentially just dump them into any monster you want. So it's not that uncommon to run into Mothra 19s above level 10 very early. I think this unit is deserving of the 2nd place spot. Next is Batra. Batra is amazing. Anyone who sleeps on Batra, I'm sorry, he's still really good. The only counter to Batra is dropping like Train Bomb and Kiryu and using 9 energy to trade for killing 4. And that really shows how good Batra is, that people are even willing to do that. Batra is amazing. It's just the best offensive defensive piece combo. It buffs your leader. It's literally the best thing on defense, and I use it all the time. It's such a staple in teams. If I ever want to run other units, Batra is always there to help out pretty much. Next is 4th Angel. 4th Angel is super dominant. The explosion's just ridiculous. This guy has ridiculous explosion damage that just hits so far away. It feels like anything that comes into contact with him is going to be dying. And it makes Psychic Core super valuable now. Super valuable. But yeah, 4th Angel is kind of falling a bit in the meta because of Kumo Augment and things like that. He's not the most reliable thing, but because he's so easy to get access to now, everyone has him at least at 20, and he's going to be thrown into so many decks, and he does just negate pushes. It's super hard not to rate him S tier, and he is a dominant piece that is going to be in so many decks. Insanely strong. Next, GMK Godzilla. Super good. There's a joke going around that GMK Godzilla is not good. That is a joke. Do not believe it. GMK Godzilla is amazing. He's AoE, damage, reduction, battle piece that has good range, great stats, and just overall really, really good. Susceptible to stuns, but as we know, Mothra 19 is around to counteract that. He is amazing. Next is Fire Rodan. I think Fire Rodan's doing great. This season. Kumo Augment being around does counter things like Mothra Leo, who we'll talk about next. But Fire-Edan doesn't really experience any downsides to stuns or slows because he's really fast and he hits pretty quickly. You know, he can make work of things like Kumo Augment very fast because he can get down the field and do what he wants. Also, Fire-Edan's heal on leader, we all know, is really, really good. I just think Fire-Edan is a little bit slept on. The pre-evolution form is just such a great tank in your first push if you deploy it right. And I think Fire-Edan is climbing up the meta just because Mothra Leo is kind of climbing down. And next is Mothra Leo. Mothra Leo's amazing. We all know Mothra Leo's stats are absurd. It's unbelievable she's not nerfed yet, or he's not nerfed yet, sorry Leo. But Kumo Augment being able to stun Leo out of the charge is very crucial for him. Like, that's something he cannot be having. Mothra Leo needs to be hitting with his charge. That's his bread and butter. Obviously, Mothra 19 is a stun-resistant unit and is going to help Leo with that. But if we're saying that Mothra 19 needs to be on every Mothra Leo team, then that really shows how good Mothra 19 is now. And Mothra Leo without Mothra 19 is very, very susceptible to getting stunned out of his charge, every single time from this Kumo Augment dude. So I think Mothra 19 is amazing. He always will be with these stats, but if he's not hitting his charge consistently, he's not going to be sitting at the top of S tier. Next is Ultraman, who I've raised from A tier. Ultraman has come back because Kumo Augment is around and is stunning all the time. Ultraman is resistant to stuns, so he doesn't really care. He also has really good range to be able to counteract Kumo, and he also has piercing, so he can hit Kumo with Dimension Tide and things like that. I just think Ultraman is doing pretty damn well right now. Just like Kumo, Ultraman's susceptible to PC, so I don't think they work that well together, but I do think if you don't want to run Kumo, Ultraman is doing pretty well for people. Next is Gigan 04. Gigan 04 with these buffs is a menace. Dude is super good. He's the best ground unit support in the game, damage, non-tank guy. He's just really fun. There's really nothing like Gigan 04 in the game either that plays like him, and having him be prevalent in the meta is really, really cool, because honestly, this unit is freaking fun and really cool, and it's really nice seeing him zip around the field, and he's awesome. And he just does a ton of damage. He's such a threat at all times. He pairs so well with Fire-Edan and Batra for damage boost or speed boost options. He's 4 cost, really easy to throw in, and he's really good on defense and offense, which is great to see from an only ground unit. Gigan 04 is awesome. Next is Psychic Chorus. Psychic Chorus could honestly be even higher. I think Psychic Chorus is really, really good right now. With Kumo Augment, Mothra 19, Ultraman, even GMK Godzillas and 4th Angels, those things are countered by Psychic Chorus. And I think 4th Angel especially is countered by Psychic Chorus, because the thing that makes 4th Angel crazy is obviously he's just going to explode and take out over half your whole push's health. Psychic Chorus can counteract that, which is pretty much the only way to play into 4th Angel from my experience. Like, I really don't know how you push through a 4th Angel without having to, and it's hard to just say, well, I'll 1v1 it, because you really can't all the time. So Psychic Chorus is just amazing. I have it in so many decks. It helps me out so much. And it also helps out on your leader when people are just trying to train bomb you all game or just drop Kiryu or Mog. So Psychic Chorus is just really, really good. Probably the best effect piece right now. I would rank it over Dimension Tide. Next is Burning Godzilla, who is falling in the meta a bit. I think Burning Godzilla used to be potentially like a season or 2 ago, maybe 3 ago, like the best unit in the game because of how good of a first drop he is and how well he pairs with 4th Angel. But now he gets very, very countered from Kumo Augment, and Burning Godzilla, as we know, is very slow walker, and the whole point of Burning Godzilla is to have a very slow push, stack up, and fight the other team. But with Kumo Augment and Mothra 19 slowing and stunning and not really giving time for BG to even get close to them before he dies, and the explosion doesn't even really hit anyone, he doesn't really do super well. And 4th Angel is a lot safer bet because that explosion is going to hit a lot further, a lot quicker. And I think Burning Godzilla is still really good, obviously, in S tier, and of course I would still use him. I just think he's struggling more so now than he was in the past. I think in the past he just had free reign to be on like every team, where now he's a little more spotty, but still really good. Next is Dimension Tide. Dimension Tide is just great AoE combo piece power combos with GMK Godzilla, Kumo Augment, any AoE. You could pull it into Explosion. There's a lot of uses for it. I don't think it's being used a ton right now because I don't think GMK Godzilla or Kumo really need Dimension Tide. Like Ultraman kind of needs it. So I would say it's not as prevalent as like Psychic Course is right now, but that's just what I'm noticing. Next is Biollante. Biollante, it's debatable whether S or A tier, but I think with Kumo Augment being so good at 3 costs, Biollante is a natural cost counter, which is really good. You need cheaper cost things to counter other cheap broken things, and Biollante does that. Even on Tokyo, you can Batra buff her so it doesn't make her like completely weak. Her biggest counter is honestly GMK Godzilla, because once he dies or has the damage reduction hit Biollante, her damage output is insanely lowered. It's really hard to save GMK Godzilla just for Biollante, so usually it's off of his death anyways, but still it is something she deals with now. But I would say she's still amazing, definitely deserving of the last S tier slot. Next, I would say in the A tier, starting it out, is Kamen Rider. I don't know if Kamen Rider is an S tier yet, but this dude will be as time goes on if he stays exactly the same. As a unit, Kamen Rider's broken. I mean, if we're watching the unit showcases, we see him win crazy fights that we don't even know how he's winning. For 4 cost, his knockback motorcycle combos insanely well with Kumo Augment and Mothra 19, by the way. With the slows and the stuns and the knockback, yeah, can you already see where that's going? It's pretty damn crazy. And I don't like how broken Kamen Rider and Kumo Augment are coming out the gate. The only reason I don't think Kamen Rider is being used as much because there's a lot of other things that need the G-mats. And Kamen Rider isn't exactly a carry. He's kind of like Gigan 04. And you're not really going to see people dump G-mats on units like those because they're not your main carries. They're more like support carries. But once Kamen Rider gets up there in the 15 levels, man, be ready because this dude's coming. And he's going to be a great unit or leader, whatever they want to do. He's not as good as a leader now because they nerfed him a bit, but as a unit, he's going to be amazing. So if you're a Kamen Rider fan and you want to invest in him, definitely should. He's very, very good. Next is King Ghidorah 19, who is also really, really good. KG19 was, really didn't know what to expect, right? 8 cost, King Ghidorah, damage boost, flyer. But when you really look at King Ghidorah and see the stats on this mother effer and see that he sits outside leader range and he buffs himself and his team every 10 seconds, if you can get King Ghidorah deployed right, this guy is super hard to take out. And yes, he does have a Kamacuras problem. But right now, you know, Kamacuras are very easy to take out with Kumo Augments, you have Biolantes. There's a lot of things that are going to be taking out Kamacuras. And it really makes you not want to run Kamacuras, but obviously there's uses for it, like against King Ghidorah 2019. But if King Ghidorah 2019 is fighting against straight up units and no swarms or anything that's going to be taking hits, he is going to be decimating teams if he has a tank out in front of him. King Ghidorah 2019 is really, really good, and I think definitely has a place in the meta, and I think you can definitely build teams around this guy. I've gotten smacked by a high level one before, and it felt really strong. So King Ghidorah 2019 is a definitely new and good piece. Next is Kamacuras. Great 2 cost, 3 piece support. It's really good for just taking hits. Anguirus, essentially the same thing for 4 costs. Really good at taking hits and really good at being a first drop tank. Just very dependable. Angie is just dependable, and people use him all the time because he is so dependable with that 4,000 plus HP at level 30. Pretty easy to get. You unlock him when you play the game, like right out the gate. You get a lot of pieces for Angie pretty quickly. Next, Train Bomb. Train Bomb's amazing because you can take out energy base with it, and it does 1,000 damage on the ground, which is pretty nice. Pretty annoying for leaders to deal with. Forces you to play fast or use heals, and it's pretty damn good. I think Kiryu is essentially a Train Bomb counter archetype where it's more like a monster that has the Train Bomb effect, kind of, but not as good because it's a monster, so the effect wouldn't be as good. But Kiryu is pretty damn good and pretty valuable, but for 6 cost, it is harder to deploy him, and he's not that good at defense. So people do opt to run Train Bomb over him, I think, a bit more. But I'd say, it's probably like 60-40. And obviously people run Kiryu and Train Bomb together a lot too. That's really good at taking out Batra or any larva for that matter. And having that playstyle with Kiryu lets you get Kai also very, very quickly because you send him out pretty damn fast to take out larvas. But yeah, Kiryu's pretty solid. He's always going to be solid A tier in my opinion. Next is Eva Unit 0. I don't see Unit 0 ever, but I think if people Gmatted her and used her, she would be in the mid A tier. She's pretty damn good. I just don't see any really faults with Unit 0. And I can't really knock her down because, Gmats exist and there definitely could be level 20 Unit 0s running around. But I don't really see them. Let me know down below if you run into Unit 0s at all in ranked. Next is Godzilla Earth, who is just a staple, really good unit. I think he's comparable to King Ghidorah 2019 in their playstyles where you build around them. Godzilla Earth is a lot slower though, so it takes him a lot longer to apply pressure. But he does have a huge AoE blast that is super powerful, especially if you could play with Dimension Tide. Very nice. Earth is good. Next is Super X, who I think is doing a lot better because I think Dimension Tide isn't really that used. I just do not see it that often. And I'm not running Super X a ton, but when I do run it, I do find pretty good success. Super X is a really good unit still. Like, it's still Super X at 5 cost, it's still good. The only thing is, like, if Dimension Tide's around all the time, it's gonna die. But if it's not around, it's kind of like Energy Base. If Energy Base is up, it's good. If it's getting Train Bombed, it's bad. If Super X is up, it's really good. If it's getting Dimension Tided or dying instantly to like Kiryu, it's bad. Next is Mog. Mog is pretty good, just 5 cost, get behind the leader, turn you around unit. Nothing special, but it just fills a niche really well and is pretty good at that niche. Next is Final Wars Godzilla. Final Wars Godzilla has been teetering for me. I just wonder, like, where is this guy fitting in? I think he's just really, really, really good. I think with levels, this guy's going to be amazing. I think with Mothra Leader, he's going to be really, really strong. And I'm already seeing it a lot at level 11 when he's like level 20. Damn. He has really high health, really high DPS, and the only problem is he's super fast. So you just have to find teams that are going to work around his speed and when you want to deploy him. I feel like he's better dropped late or, on defense so you can kind of stall. But I really think Final Wars Godzilla is going to have a come up at some point. At lower levels, he just doesn't really fit like his playstyle. I think it's going to be a level dependent unit. Next is Destroya. Destroya's getting buffs next season, so it's kind of hybrid tiered. I don't see Destroya like moving up a lot, but we'll see. But the buffs are going to be great, don't get me wrong. And Destroya is going to be really good and it's going to be used a lot more. Destroya still has to evolve twice though at the end of the day, so it is going to take him a while still to get here. And he is a single target attacker who isn't that fast, and he is 7 cost. So you are going to have to build around him. But I do think Destroya is definitely going to have a place in the meta, and I think teams are going to be able to be built around him a lot easier. And I'm really excited to use him as well. I think at upper levels, he's just going to be really fun. Really excited for how Final Wars Godzilla and Destroya are turning out. Next is G54. G54 I just used in my last video. He is a ton of fun, and if you just use Ultima Leader, you can use a bunch of good things for 2 less cost. I would say the worst part about G54 is the fact you have to use G54, because by himself, he's really not that good. He's pretty plain, and he's basic. He feels like just a bottom of B tier unit, like just pretty like, okay, like whatever, that's nice. Never doing anything that special. But when he dies and evolves, that's when you get these really, really nice pushes, and you can pretty much deploy a unit that is really good, like GMK Godzilla, Final Wars Godzilla, G89 for 2 less cost, which makes them like really, really good for that push. So I think G54 definitely has a place. It does take a while to get all your Godzilla pieces high, so you don't feel like, oh, I have to deploy a level 1 thing right here. I just managed to do that recently, and I do have to say it felt pretty nice. Next is Godzilla Ultima. Godzilla Ultima is just barely making A tier for me still, just barely. Ultima's good and is pretty nice when you can have him snipe people and not get targeted. But with Gigan 04 existing, if he's grappling onto Ultima, that's just a downfall. And, you know, if Ultima does not like dealing with ground units, Ultima really wants to fight against flyers all game, and he doesn't want to deal with any ground shenanigans because he doesn't really do that well against them. And don't get me started if you cannot evolve Terrestrius, because if your Terrestrius dies, you essentially will probably lose the game to a good player. That usually is what happens. Now, obviously, if you're an Ultima player, you're going to want to keep that guy protected, and you're probably pretty good at it. But, you know, eventually that guy's going to die. I don't think any Ultima player can say they have a 100% success rate, you know, so he does have some downfalls, but Ultima's still Ultima and still deserves to be in the bottom of A tier for now. Next is Kaiser Ghidorah, brand new unit to the game. I think Kaiser Ghidorah is pretty solid. Obviously, he has bugs right now. Some of them, I don't know if his damage bug that makes him do a lot more damage is a bug, but the ones that make him miss hits are pretty damn bad. It doesn't happen all the time, and it happens against units that aren't exactly that meta, like Kong and G89. Like, you're not going to run into those all the time, and you're probably not going to want to deploy Kaiser Ghidorah into those anyways. But, you know, Kaiser Ghidorah's stats are freaky, and if we're talking getting this guy into higher levels, he is going to have insane health and damage, and if he's managing to get the bite heals, the pushes are going to keep going, and he's going to be really strong. And I expect when these bugs get fixed, which are probably going to be soon, he's going to be really, really good. He does have stun issues, and so does Monster X. Monster X, too, is a really good unit. Unfortunately, you can only use Monster X once, but that one deploy is still a freaking solid-ass 5-cost unit, I will say. It's a huge plus to the kit as a whole. But being stun-resistant with Mothra 19 is probably going to help Kaiser a lot and Monster X, and I imagine that will be a piece you'll want to dabble with, because he does struggle with stuns. But I'd say Kaiser's a welcome addition to the game and pretty fun. You know, I think he's pretty good. I think people were knocking him really early because, you know, he was dying a bit. But I think once you get used to how he plays, you can stack a nice push with him, and he does really solid damage. And he's underleveled. You guys have to understand he's going to be underleveled in the high tier play, and he's still pulling his weight. So I think he's pretty damn good. Next is Megagearus. Megagearus is top of B tier for me. I think Megagearus is really slept on, and I think it's just because she's a 3-star melee range, but she fills a niche that is not in this game, and I use her sometimes because of it. When I'm like, I need a flying piece on defense that is going to like not need to be evolved because I don't need another evolution unit. I just want a flying unit that is going to help on defense. And like Mothra Leo's an option for that sometimes, but I'm like, if I need this for defense, like Megagearus is better than Mothra Leo, so I don't need Mothra Leo. And then the other character that would fill that niche as a flyer is Rodan 64, and Rodan 64 is nowhere near as good as Megagearus, obviously. So I think Megagearus still has a very nice niche in the meta, and she does counter the Gigan rush strategies, Gigan 72, and like as a leader, and also the 4th Angel Gigan rush strategies, which you may sleep on and may think they suck, but they will catch you by surprise and will do good amounts of damage. And if you don't have heals, they can get you. They definitely can get you. And it's not like a consistent strategy. I don't think that's why they run it, but it's funny, and it will get wins pretty often. But yeah, I think Megagearus is doing pretty good. Next is Naranga. I think Naranga is weird. Naranga's weird. I think Naranga's good, but I'm not seeing greatness, you know? He does good, just not great. I never see him like totally pop off. He does get occasional stun locks that are really, really good, but with Mothra 19 existing last season, it was horrible for him, and I imagine in the future with Mothra 19 running around more, he's not going to be having fun dealing with the stun resistance. But as for right now, Mothra 19 is not as prevalent. He's going to be doing okay. Next is Space Goji. Space Goji I think is just dropping because I don't really see him around. Kumo Augment kind of, messes up his crystals. Biollante kind of messes him up. And I think Space Godzilla is just dropping as new things get into the game that are pretty good. Space Godzilla has always been on the, lower side of damage and health. And for 6 cost, nowadays, the 6 cost with the lower damage and health is not really like pairing well with, modern times. But I still think he's good enough to where he's B tier. I'm just not really seeing him nearly as much. Let me know when the last time you saw Space Godzilla is, or when the last time you felt threatened by one. I just haven't seen him in a while. I kind of feel bad for the dude. Next is JJSP. JJSP is just a decent 4-cost tank who has counters. Isn't the greatest first drop, which kind of hurts him overall, but he's pretty decent and has AoE. He's not bad if you have a high level 1. Or even, you don't have that many 4-stars. He's definitely a decent 4-star if he's one of your highest ones. He's a decent tank. Next is Hedorah. Hedorah's pretty decent. Needs levels to obviously do damage. But once she's there, gonna be doing a lot of damage with her AoE splash. And the evolution's pretty solid. Hedorah is just a pretty decent B tier piece right now. Really good. Next is G89. G89 is just a double-edged sword, can hit really hard or can just die to flyers and not do anything for 7 cost. Have to be very careful with him, but he's pretty easy to play and you can essentially just drop him and get a win with your eyes closed sometimes because he is G89 at the end of the day. But, not the most consistent unit. Next is King Caesar, who is not very consistent either because Kumo Augment stops his charges, Naranga, Kamakuris, there's a lot of ways to stop his charges. But at the end of the day, he's still pretty cheap, and throwing him out there can result in a good amount of damage. I don't think King Caesar is ever going to drop below B tier. He's always pretty decent. Next is Mothra. Mothra's range is just really short. She has high damage, but doesn't have time to do damage because her health and range are too short. Not only do those flaws exist, it's pretty hard to get her in comparison to other evolution units like Batra because she takes a lot longer to evolve and her pre-evolution does not do any damage essentially and doesn't really do anything. So Mothra, struggles a bit when it comes to those things, but again, she's not a bad unit at all. You can definitely do some work with Mothra, just not the most consistent piece. Gigan 72, I'll stand by Gigan 72. I don't care what anyone says. He's B tier. It's not that high. Why is it weird? Why is it weird that he's B tier? You see Gigan 72s. I know you do when you play ranked. I know you see them. I know you see them. They exist and they're around and they're not that bad. There's a lot of units in this game. Gigan 72 makes his way into ranked. There's a lot of things you do not see in ranked. I promise you do see Gigan 72 sometimes. Now, with that said, he's not amazing, obviously. He doesn't do that much, but because he can push like 4th Angel and because he does have pretty decent stats now, it's not the easiest thing to kill like right away, especially if you can deploy him right. He's not something you want to send out willy-nilly. You send him at the right moments and he can do work. And he can do things that other units can't do, and he can do them better. He can get to the leader and do good damage in certain situations better than any other unit if you use him right. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, he's still Gigan 72, so he's never going to be that good, and if he is that good, it's broken. So I think where he is right now is perfect, honestly. It's as good as he can get. I think it's fine. Descadora is B tier and is not very good. I just think the Descadora and Mecha King Ghidorah nowadays at 7 cost are just underwhelming. Just underwhelming, and Descadora has huge stun problems with stunners coming into the game. And you could use Descadora and Mothra 19, but that sounds kind of like 13 cost combo that doesn't have that much damage. It just doesn't sound too good. So Descadora might even be lower, but out of respect for, him, I'm gonna put him in the bottom of B right now, but we'll see what happens. EVA Unit 8 is a unit that is talked poop on a lot. I don't really get why. Excuse me. I don't really get why. I mean, I kind of get it. You don't have levels yet, and you're not going to dump GMATs into her. And I think she's a unit that's going to require high levels. Maybe she could use a little bit of a damage buff, but overall, I think she's pretty solid. And the fact you can sit there and snipe and stack up energy is really good. It was definitely a hot take probably to put her in A tier when she first came out. Maybe I was a little too high on her. But you know, as I've used her a bit more, I think she's pretty decent, but nothing crazy. I think she fits into the game well, and I really have no complaints. Energy base is going to be the bottom of B. Energy base is broken. If it's up, it's good. Take it out, and it's bad. So make sure you are taking it out. Next is EV Unit 2, sitting at the top of C. I think Unit 2 just doesn't really do anything, and I think I just don't think she does anything. I mean, she feels like she dies really, really quick, and her damage on flyers is good, but I never feel like she's winning and doing a lot. I don't know. You feel like the tools are there, but I just feel like she's kind of clunky and maybe needs a health buff. But maybe I'm pretty low on Unit 2 right now. But, you know, I don't really use her that much. I've used her in the ranked battle videos, and that's pretty much it so far. I didn't think she was that bad, but I really do not know how I feel about Unit 2. She's not impressing me that much. Mecha King Ghidorah, on the other hand, is just such a disappointment. This fall from grace of King Ghidorah used to be the best unit in the game. Then it turned into a pre-evolution, and now its evolution, which should be better than the pre-evolution, is C tier. And Mecha King Ghidorah is super buggy. Is anyone else noticing how buggy Mecha King Ghidorah is playing? Like, what is wrong with this unit? It, like, when it dies, it, like, disappears sometimes, or it instantly hits the ground, and sometimes it, like, fake attacks and the attack doesn't come out, or its attack animation is off. It's really weird, and let me know if you experience these, like, weird phenomena with Mecha King Ghidorah, like, all the time. And I don't even use him, and I still experience them. Like, he's a weird, broken, buggy unit that is way too overpriced right now. Feels bad. Next is Mephiles. Mephiles is also overpriced, and I think Mephiles is pretty damn good. Honestly, like, he might even be better than Mecha King Ghidorah, but for 6 cost, it's really just, he needs to be 5 cost at most. Like, 6 cost is too much. Too much for a single target guy whose kick stuns are very, you know, rare. They're rare to activate. They're really good when it happens, but, like, it doesn't happen all the time. And if he's going to be 6 cost, he needs to be, like, better. So I don't think you can make him better. I just think he needs to have a lower cost. He needs to be 5, and I think we are talking. I think he's going to be pretty good and fit right into where he needs to be in the meta. But till that happens, he's going to be in C tier. Next is Mechagodzilla 2021. I think Mechagodzilla 2021 has potential as time goes on, possibly, but right now, he's not going to be doing good. He's going to have that Kong curse where, like, these are tanks that need levels to be good, and they're also not as good as normal meta units, so it just doesn't really work out for them. I do think Mechagodzilla 2021 is really, really fun though, and I do like using him, so I'll give him that. EV Unit 0 is another, or EV Unit 1 is another unit that feels extremely buggy and just clunky and just not that fun to use. It just doesn't feel fun. No one likes to see EV Unit 1 like run in place and then just get shot in the face. Like, no one likes that. It needs to be fixed a little bit, I think. Unit 1 is the main Evangelion unit. It's like the Godzilla of that universe, and they are just not doing well with it, so I would like to see some better changes. G21 is not good, man. Not good. Even if you make him stun resistant, like, people are like, oh, his problems are gone. He has no stun resistance. Dude, he still has millions of problems. He still has Kamacuras problems. He still has, like, anything like that. So even if you dedicate a Mothra 19 to make sure he's not getting stunned, Kamacuras are going to shut him down. So yes, G21 has multiple problems. It's not just the walking and the animations. It's the swarms, stuns. It's all of those things are extreme problems for him. And those are 3 huge problems. And if you fix one, it's not going to fix the other 2. So he has problems. Also a fun unit though, so gotta give him that. Another fun unit's Kong. Kong's pretty basic and simple, but he is fun and he's a monkey. So, you know, Kong also comes up clutch in my random teams. He's just that dude.
and you have to put respect on his name, but he isn't the greatest piece in comparison to some others. Wish I had him at level 30 though, it'd be a lot of fun. Next is Dorats. Dorats is just too basic and get taken out too easily, and Kamakris is just better. It's just better, and if you're running both, you're at risk of dying to AoE too easily. So I think it's just better to run Kamakris. Dorats is okay though, it's not that bad. I think Rodan 64 is not that bad either. I think it's not great obviously, but not that bad. I think it's better than Mechagodzilla, Heisei Mechagodzilla, and Showa. Spoiler alert, but Rodan's just whatever's. You know, it's a decent flying damage option if it's not getting hit. Mechagodzilla 74 is really bad. It's really not good. The transformations don't work. The G21 transformation's dog. It's dog crap. I can't believe they even gave that to him. It's so stupid. But MG74 takes way too long to attack. It's too clunky. And like, the problem with clunky units like that is he might hit really hard, but he's going to get swarmed on and destroyed before he can attack like more than once. And I think the only thing that's going to save him is high levels, because his stats are pretty good. But I would like to see some buffs to his animations, maybe his attack speed, things like that. He does not feel very good, and I did not have a ton of fun with him when he came out. I really don't know too many people that still vouch for him nowadays, except maybe like one. But yeah, he's not too good in my opinion. Next is 10th Angel, who should not be down here. 10th Angel should be like up here in front of Hedorah. I think 10th Angel is just a better Hedorah, ideally, once you get like the levels for it. I think it's very comparable to Hedorah, but just a lot better because of the range. The explosion's crap. I mean, it does well against things like Mothra Leo, I guess, and like things that want to get close, but really it's the long range AoE piercing that is pretty much making 10th Angel like a different Hedorah variant, in my opinion. Next is Sonde. Pretty lackluster, not that many uses. I don't see people use it too often. Bottom of C, it's okay. Mbot base, same thing. It's just counterable by train bombs, but you know, it can work against some teams, and it's definitely worked against me running like fun teams before. If you like run all ground slow units like some Godzillas or something, like they might struggle. But at the end of the day, I don't think Mbot base is your answer. Next is Shin Godzilla, starting out the D tier. Shin Godzilla is getting buffs next season, and I'm just going to talk about those right now. If you think those buffs are going to help Shin Godzilla, you don't play Shin Godzilla. Like, you just don't play him. I play him. I play every unit in this game, okay? That's why I feel passionately about what I think is best for these guys. Shin Godzilla needs AoE ranged increase. He needs range increases, not damage, not stats. He needs range increases. He doesn't hit flyers that are attacking him from the same range. Like Fire-Rodan and Batra, like hitting him, like it's kind of maybe he hits those, but like it's rare he hits like more than one thing with his AoE blast in the air, which is his bread and butter, and should be like once he gets that, like boom, I evolved him twice, dude. Boom, he should be doing crazy damage. But unfortunately, he doesn't. And his AoE needs to be a lot bigger because his movement speed is horrible. Have you ever marched Shin Godzilla down the field without a speed boost? It's horrible. He doesn't move. Like, dude, what are you gonna do? What can you possibly do with this guy? He's literally moving like Earth speed. And he's not like killing things like Earth does at all. And even with Earth, most people want a Gigan leader. They're either doing Mothra or Gigan, but Shin Godzilla just has problems. Do I think he'll be better? Sure, he'll be better. He'll be more fun. Like, yeah, I'll try him out again. It'll be like fun to use. Like, but if he's gonna be like anywhere like to where like, oh, maybe this is it where Shin got, no, it's not. His AoE needs to be bigger, or his attack range from his first attack on ground units needs to be longer range or something. Like, his range is horrible for his walk speed. He just does not do it. It doesn't matter how much damage he's going to be doing. Next is Manila, who I think is just, at this point, useless. We're getting stun resistance up in here. Like, dude, you are useless. I'm not talking about you anymore, Poopy. Mechagodzilla Heisei, 92, I think 93. Just so basic and just not very good. He doesn't do anything exceptionally well, just very, very basic. Next is Zeton, who is pretty bad as well. Zeton just doesn't do anything either. Zeton doesn't do any damage, and the only good thing Zeton has was the Godzilla Earth combo, and that's about it. But I mean, it's counterable and people usually know how to counter it now. But Zeton needs some kind of help in the damage department. Just does not do enough damage. Maybe needs to be reworked in general, like have his health lowered by a bit, have his damage raised. I don't know, but I don't see how anyone could think Zeton is good. I've used Zeton. I use him. I try to use him. I think he was fun. I've even used him in the Earth. I've done 2 Earth videos with him and had a ton of fun. Outside of that, he has never been fun, ever. So, you know, maybe if I had like all level 30 stuff, I could have fun with Zeton, but till that day, I don't think so. Kamacuras Swarm and Destroy Larva Swarm I'll rank together. Both just very mediocre. Too much cost for how easily they get taken out by AoE. It really makes them not too good, and they suck on offense. I'd say Kama Swarm are overall better because they spawn 2 more. I think it provides more defense, which is their primary value. Next is JJ73. JJ73 is getting buffed next season. I think he has a chance to be in the B tier. Pretty good chance. At the end of the day, though, I don't think he's going to be like that crazy. We're gonna have to see what, you know, he is, but I don't think we're expecting S tier or A tier. You know, I think it's going to be a B tier. I think he's just going to be a decent 3-cost option now, who's going to be a viable tank because of his price. But he's still not going to be doing well in fights. He's just going to be better at countering what he counters and maybe a little bit more. But flyers are still going to mess him up, and he's still going to have that issue. He's not going to be S tier, but he's looking to be coming up. That's a huge buff he's getting. So exactly what I suggested, by the way. That's always what I suggested for him, and he's getting it. So very nice. He'll be in the B tier. Really cool to see. Mbos, pretty basic. They suck, kind of. Kids, same thing. Like, kids is just for shits and gigs. Like, I'm going to do, like, some troll fun plays, and they maybe will work, which makes it D tier. Mark-Light Cannon, F tier, gets train bombed, and it doesn't push on offense. I just don't think Mark-Light Cannon's very good. Maybe I'm ranking it too low, but, you know, I just don't have any, like, care for Mark-Light Cannon or any support. I don't see anyone really use it or do well with it. Chibi Godzilla is pretty horrible. I'm actually going to move Chibi Godzilla like down here. He should not be up there. Chibi Godzilla is dog shit. But Stealth Bomber, just a worse Gigan. It's okay, but like, it's for memes, honestly. Attack Copters, really bad. Just never that good. Missiles, just horrible. Train Bomb, never use it. Chibi Godzilla, like we said, useless. And Giant Octopus, useless. Chibi Godzilla and Giant Octopus should have like a battle of who's more useless. And I think it might be Chibi Godzilla, honestly, because Giant Octopus has more health. Is Chibi Godzilla the worst unit now? Is it possible to dethrone Giant Octopus? How do you be more useless than useless? I don't know. But that is going to conclude my tier list for Season 26. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a while since I made one of these. I'm really happy I got it out, and I can't wait for you all to watch it. If you made it to this part of the video, subscribe, like, comment down below. It means a lot to me. Love being a part of my community, and I love engaging with you guys. Have a good rest of your day, and peace out.